YouTube, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be going through the assault rifle role. More importantly, going into Black Ops 6, what things do I think you guys should practice, and overall just how to approach the role. Okay, so let's go through it. We've got some MCW gameplay here, and I think over the years the game has evolved. The AR role has definitely evolved. Back in the day, it used to be, you know, anchoring. You wanted to go for spawns, you wanted to kind of sit back and be that kind of anchor for your team where you're just holding the map, right? And the SMGs would push forward, get the aggression. But this was about a decade ago. So I think a lot of times people look back at Black Ops 2 when the game kind of started, and to be honest, the game's evolved a lot. So when you look at the games now, you have a lot of different type of assault rifle players. So my job is to go through and kind of explain in my best way what I think you guys should do. So I know most of you guys watching the video, you guys play rank play, and a lot of the time it is solo queue. So the first thing we're going to do is address kind of that problem, and then we'll go over to the whole dynamic and how to improve as a team and everything. So in terms of the assault rifle role when you're playing solo queue, I think the first thing I want to say is you want to make sure there's a good balance. Okay, so my first recommendation whenever you guys are jumping into the game is look around, look what your teammates are running, right? And I think a good team dynamic is really important. So if your team have two submachine guns, if you see two rivals on the map for the players next to you, then feel free to use an assault rifle. Okay, now some of you might be watching and saying, look, I'm more of an SMG kind of guy, so this doesn't really apply to me. This is another skill gap I think I want you guys to address. Okay, everyone that watches these videos, I want you guys to be comfortable with both roles. Once again, we're not in the era where you can only use one weapon. I believe every single player should be comfortable with a sub, with an AR, and I'm going to go through some reasons why. Okay, first of all, especially if you're trying to get on a team or you're playing solo queue, if you're stuck in one role, you're automatically less of an asset, right? You're automatically limiting yourself as a player. Let's just say an opportunity arises, yeah? You guys are trying to compete, you guys are trying to come into challenges, and there's a team and a slot opens up, and the slot is for a main AR role. This is your one opportunity, and you're like, oh, sorry, I play the SMG role. You've just lost a spot based on that, okay? You need to get your name out there, and to do that, you need to be willing to use different roles. The next thing, and for me, the most important thing, because some people don't want to compete in challenges, you guys just want to play for fun, and that's absolutely fine. If you play as an SMG, you're going to go up against assault rifles, okay? Vice versa. If you play as an assault rifle, you're going to go up against SMGs. So it's good to understand what they do. It's good to understand what goes on in their head so you can do the same thing. When I'm playing as an SMG and I go to like an area, I know where the ARs are going to sit because I would do the same thing, right? So it gives you more insight into the gameplay. A really, really underrated tip. Make sure you guys utilize both roles to understand the game from a wider perspective. You can understand spawns, where people sit, power positions, how to get there. And what happens is the more you play on the other role, the more you start to work out weaknesses, which you could then address from the other role itself. So for example, let's just take Rio, for example. Let's say as an AR on Rio, you sit in a certain spot, right? When you sit there, you're like, this is a really good spot. So when you're on a submachine gun now, from the other side, right? Let's say you're trying to break that hill, you can expect someone to sit there. And what you can realize is you can find different angles or things to watch out for to take out the AR player. So when you go back to the AR role now, you can think, okay, what did I do? Oh, I actually came through the left bridge. This was a little bit hard to deal with. So now I know to watch out for that. There was a nade coming through. Okay, I know where to put the trophies. You know where I'm coming from? You give yourself research and feedback to go against yourself, and then you can use that against other players when you go up against them. So it's a really, really underrated tip. Now, in terms of the AR itself, okay, so let's just go through what to do, what to improve. I know you guys are kind of thinking, what's the secret? What's the secret to the AR role? I think with the MCW, it's a bit of a do-it-all weapon. So some people use it as a submachine gun essentially and kind of run out. Now that's not the best way to play. The best way you kind of want to use the AR is weird because you don't want to, you want to make sure that you're maximizing map control, but at the same time the gun's an absolute laser, right? So the way I like to look at the AR role, the way I like to look at it is I like to utilize a few things. The first thing is my position, okay? Now the position on the map is one of the most crucial things, and when I say position, this doesn't just mean standing on a head glitch at the back of the map. No, it means standing in a position where you're going to be the most impactful, okay? So one thing I like to do is I like to have a bird's eye view in my head of where the opponents are going to be. And based on that view, what I like to do is I like to push out to certain positions where I can kind of have the advantage. So I think invasion is one of the easiest ones to explain while going through this. Imagine mid truck, right? The mid tank. If you can go on that mid tank with an assault rifle head glitch, you will be able to beam anyone that goes through that courtyard, okay? Let's assume you're in defense on control. So you want to set yourself up in power positions. Power positions is really crucial as an assault rifle player. The next thing you want to do is utilize your trophy system, okay? Your trophy system is your best friend as an AR player because when you're on those power positions, most people are going to try to chuck those nades at you, and that's the one thing that can kind of slow you down. But if you have a trophy, you're strictly just limiting them to strict gunfights, and when you have that head glitch, you have a massive advantage. Okay, the next thing I want you guys to use when you're an assault rifle, so the first thing we went through is the power positions. So you guys I want you guys to prioritize those power positions and get into those spots where you can really dominate the map. The next thing I want you guys to do is make space for your SMG players. Okay, make space for them. Sometimes your SMG player is going to run in front of you and try to get on the hill, and you are essentially watching over them. Okay, a perfect example is Vista P2. You know, when you're on top, when you're standing on that top roof on top burger, you can watch over your SMG players. Okay, so I want you guys to think of, when you're an AR player, you're essentially a sentry gun. You're a movable sentry gun, right? So you're in a position where you can watch over players. So I want you guys to utilize different angles, different mechanics, and just try to be as impactful as possible. The good thing about an AR player is you can put so much damage down that it may not necessarily lead in kills, and sometimes that's okay, because you'll realize when you watch the CDL, right, you can be a real damage dealers with your AR, and the SMGs can sometimes clean up those kills, and that's okay. That's the role that we're playing, right? So AR players, you need to be putting that damage down. That's why sometimes you see AR players play a little bit too slow in the CDL and get kind of criticism. It's because they're not dealing the amount of damage that they should. As an AR, you should be putting that damage down. You should be the damage dealer. You should be able to rotate early, pick up those spots, be the damage dealer, and just do all the work to make the SMG role easier. So we went through first power positions, trophy, stuff like that. The next thing is putting the damage down. Okay, so I think the big important thing I want you guys to do is, when you're sitting on the AR spots, use the mini map to identify danger areas. And this is really important. Sometimes I'm coaching people and I watch them and they're really misreading the game. They'll be sitting on a really good head glitch, right? Great head glitch, but there's no one that's coming forward, and then it's more about looking at the minimap and kind of painting a picture, saying, right, okay, 3 people died, they should be spawning at this spot A, right? If they spawn at A, where is the best power position near that spot to maximize my impact? And then you have to get there as quick as possible without taking damage, again, which is a skill gap to find the timings. So the skill really comes in those elements where you're really looking at areas and saying, right, where can I go? What can I do? Okay, so that's the next one. And then the next tip I want to add, and this is more in recent years, it's really come out, is movement with an AR. Movement with an AR now, you actually have the ability with the new movement in the recent years. When I say recent, I'm talking about the last like 5+ years of like using like the slide cancelling, the jump shot, the long jump, the drop shot. All these stuff are even more impactful when you're using an assault rifle getting close range, because think about it, you're going to go up against SMG players, right? So what you're trying to do now is you're trying to maximize your chance of winning those gunfights. If you were to stand still, the SMG will always have the advantage. They'll always have that movement. They're always going to run at you. They're going to jump at you. They're going to just be snappier. So you want to maximize your chance of winning the gunfights at close range. And this is where I think really separates the AR players that are good to the ones that are okay, because anyone can sit on a head glitch, right? Anyone can sit on a head glitch and kind of pre-aim a tunnel, like on sub base, right? Anyone can get a kill when you have the massive advantage. But to camera your opponents, to be the AR player that's getting aggressive, holding those power spots, getting 2-piece while using movement, then getting on the head glitch, now you're in a really good spot and you have the advantage. Okay, so that's some of the best AR players that I personally watch, and when I'm playing my best Call of Duty as an AR, it's when I'm impactful on the map as well. It's when I'm getting to those really dangerous power spots and I'm jumping them, I'm going forward left, I'm sliding, I'm dolphin diving off ledges, I'm being impactful and using movement to get to those spots. So make sure you guys utilize the movement as an AR as well as an SMG. And I think overall the AR player, like, the one thing you guys need to practice is just your shot, just your efficiency, your snapness, like being snappy. And a big way of doing that is just simply shooting bots and working at that mid-range shots, going through those mid-range shots and just getting a good pattern with your recoil. Okay, so go load some bots up, literally just shoot bots, maybe shoot 100, 200, maybe more, depending on your ability and how much you really want to practice, and simply just get better at controlling your recoil. Okay, so simple recoil pattern, strafing left and right, moving your right stick down, really simple stuff. But again, most important thing is applying it in game. Okay, so movement for me is one of the most crucial things, because you don't mind getting in the hill, you don't mind getting mixy. Again, previous Call of Duties, it was more like you're holding the back spawns. But if you guys watched Dashy this year, he was arguably the top 1 or 2 ARs of the year. He was basically playing on the hill for majority of the hard points. Now the reason why this is really important is because there's going to be a team dynamic. Okay, this is the last point we're going to cover. When you are playing as an AR, there's different roles. So you have certain roles like Scrappy, right? Scrappy is the slayer of the team. He's the guy that's putting down that damage, putting down those numbers. He's always kind of pre-aiming corners. But the thing that he does so well, is he makes sure he has the right amount of aggression. When you watch Scrappy, you don't feel like he's camping and he's not being aggressive. You always feel like he's actually being impactful on the map, and that's something that I think AR players can learn from. So watch Scrappy, watch his gameplay, go on his YouTube, go on his Twitch, watch his gameplay, and really see what does he do well. How does he get in those positions? Okay, I want you guys to look at them and say, oh, okay, on this map he goes here, right? Really learn these positions. Now I know we're going into Black Ops 6, but still, you can learn these skills. They're very transferable. Okay, so that's the first thing. So once you've learned those skills, you see, right, this is what Dashy does, so this is what Scrappy does, this is how he approaches angles, you'll be in a good spot. And then I want you to watch someone like Dashy, who has a completely different role. Now this guy can shoot, don't get me wrong, Dashy is one of my favorite CDL players, he can shoot, but his role has completely changed this year. He's no longer that dominant slayer that kind of just takes over the map and potentially loses. He's actually adapted his role, and the really important thing is it's based on your teammates. Okay, and this is where the skill gap is really impactful. Dashy likes to now, I don't know if he loves it, but as a team, this is his team dynamic now. Most of the time you'll find on the hard points when they win, Dashy would sit on the hill and soak as much time as possible and be the sentry gun, but on the hill, okay? And then you have Shotzi and Pred push out. Now again, the reason why this team dynamic is so important is because if you look at like last year, where New York sublines was so dominant, right? The main aggressive slayer was Hydra. And then what you had is Kismet, he was the main objective kind of player. Now I know there isn't no set roles, that you can obviously like mix and match depending on the situation, but as a player, as a basis, Kismet was a lot more objective based last year. And what happened was he would be like, he would get a kill, play his life really well and be impactful. But this year, if you look at Optic, it's kind of like the AR player, Dashy, is that guy. So Dashy is kind of playing that Kismet role of the objective player, getting the kill, playing his life, getting those clutch two pieces. I don't know if you remember, oh, I can't speak English. I don't know if you guys remember, but at Champs, when he got that 3-piece against New York on the first map on Karachi, that was on the hard point. So I want you guys to look at the team that you're playing with and see what role do I need to fill in. If my teammate is getting on the hill, I don't want you to sit on the hill with them. I want you to be at the best spot. As an AR player, what can you do? So let's go back to Karachi. If your teammate's on the hill on P1, okay? If your teammate is on P1 and you are top third as an AR player, what is your job now? Your job is to watch over them. You guys are now a sentry gun on the top. I want you to watch different angles. I want you to be impactful, be ready for the gunfights, and just have the most impact as possible. But let's just say your team decides to push out the cuts, okay? Your team decides to push out a little bit on P1 and you have an AR player top third. You are the fourth player, okay? So you have one player in red, you have one player left alley, and one player top third. What do you do then? Get on the hill, put your trophy down, and be hard to hit. Be a hard target to hit in the hill. You have now changed your role, and that's the main important thing. I want you guys to be adaptable. I don't want you guys to, you know, have one set play. The reason is because when I'm playing with people and I realize that, oh, okay, these guys are really one-dimensional, it makes it very easy to play against them. Okay, so if you guys want to be really good and improve as an AR player heading into Black Ops 6, go through those tips we went through, just a general overfeel of kind of why we have some MCW gameplay in the background, just what to do in those situations. And I do think that the AR role it can be very exciting. If you guys just understand the game well enough, you can really fill in those gaps and really have an impact. Me personally, I feel like this year, I actually fry a lot with the AR, and I think the AR is very good this year. It's not like you're not really holding yourself back, so you can definitely slay out. You can definitely be impactful on the map with the assault rifle. The SMG is obviously more flashy, but the AR is definitely fun to use and impactful. YouTube, you guys know the drill. If you guys enjoy the video, drop a like. If you guys want more custom made tips, maybe you guys are struggling with something specific, hit me up in Discord and I'll give you guys some custom coaching. And also, I would appreciate if you guys can follow me on Twitch down below. And last thing, we do have an Ultimate Modern Warfare 3 guide that is also down in the description. If you guys are serious about watching Call of Duty and improving, I really do believe that will help you guys out. Thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you guys for another video tomorrow. Peace.